My book report was on the book The Making of a Chef, Mastering the Heat at the Culinary Institute of America by Michael Ruhlman. It's a wide-ranging book that kind of brings you through the full gamut of experiences at the Culinary Institute of America, or as they refer to it commonly throughout the book as the culinary. Michael Ruhlman was kind of brought in by President Metz, the Vice Administrator Ryan, and a couple other people to kind of give people an understanding of what it is like to be a culinary student and go through the motions of a culinary student at the culinary. And the book starts out with him on his first day of Culinary Skills 1 with Chef Pardis, who kind of turns out to be his mentor through the whole process. And the rest of the students who are in his class had already gone through 15 previous weeks of intensive book studies before they got into Culinary 1. And it turns out from the beginning, he's making his standard mise en place every single day. You got your 2 pounds of mise en place for your mirepoix, and then you got your 4 tournate potatoes, 2 sachets, and 2 tomato concasse, and it's just a constant routine of that exact same thing just to perfect it. And they make a ton of brown veal stock every single day, and that turns into just a whole aspect of it where they take the brown veal stock and they're making it into a brown sauce, sauce Espanol, and he can't stand it throughout the whole thing until Chef Pardis shows him like a demi-glace with it, and he just understands the velvety rich texture of the brown sauce can really be turned into something more than just a blab brown sauce. And another aspect of that kind of comes up throughout the whole book is he always asks every chef that he talks to throughout the whole book, what kind of roux do you use when you make a brown sauce? And because Chef Pardis is particular to using a brown roux, and turns out several other people are, but there comes down from Chef Pardis' real boss within the culinary department that you're only supposed to use a blonde roux because a brown roux can impart too much of a nutty flavor and too much of a bitterness to it. And it turns out when he finally gets to sit down with President Metz, the guy who's in charge of the whole Culinary Institute of America, he prefers a brown roux also, and that shouldn't be bitter because a bitter brown sauce means you burnt your roux. So that's burnt roux, not brown roux. One of the other major stories that kind of plays out through it is the end of Skills Development 1. There's a big storm that hits the Culinary Institute of America, and it's in New York, so that kind of stuff happens, just like where I'm from. And he's not an actual student. He's not going to get a certificate from the Culinary Institute of America. He's a writer, and he calls up Chef Pardis and says, I'm not going to be making it in today. It's too snowy outside. I can't do that. My family depends on me. And Chef Pardis says, I understand. That's who you are. And that kind of really rattles him. And he said, I don't want you to take offense to us, but when a chef says he's going to be there, he's there. And that's why the Culinary Institute never closes. And so that causes him to hop on these icy, crazy conditioned roads and drive the 25 miles into Hyde Park and to go take the last of his exam in Culinary Skills Development 1. And it kind of leads up to being the final aspect of the whole book where he sits down with Chef Pardis, and he explains to him, he goes, Chef, I understand I'm not a cook, I'm a writer, but this has taught me a lot of things. And Chef just kind of turns to him and says, no, you just worked the grill at the Great American Bounty restaurant at the Culinary Institute of America. You're a cook. And he kind of takes that as being the end of his emotional journey going through it. The whole book kind of brings you through the whole process, though, of going from Culinary Skills Development 1 to 2 to seafood to hot foods to pantry to garde manger to baking and working in. He worked in 2 different restaurants. All the other students would work through 4, and you see the students go off to their externships, and you see some of the students who are burning roux in Culinary Skills Development 1, and then they're working the line at high-profile restaurants in Chicago and Detroit and New York and LA, and it's a really transformative journey. And I wish that's one aspect I really wish they would have kind of followed up on, was where these students were, at the end. Because at the end is just kind of him finishing up his time at the American Bounty restaurant, which is an awesome restaurant. But he doesn't really follow up with see where Adam was and where Yoon Jin was and where Erica was. But I don't know, maybe he does that in his other books. But I would have liked to have a little bit more closure on that aspect. Other than that, the book was very captivating. I loved it. I'll probably end up buying a couple of his other books to read while I'm on my vacation this summer. So that's all I got. See you in class tomorrow.